All right, gentlemen, we're here to talk about your domestic duplex booster pump. It's Flowtherm. We have two pumps on the back. They both have ball door motors and they're Gould's pump. They are direct coupled to the pump, not a flexible coupling. It's a rigid coupling. Our set points on this is system set points is 113 psi. We have multiple alarms on this for high discharge pressure, low discharge pressure, high suction, low suction. Those can be accessed through this touchscreen display by going into setup. Here you'll see different timers, different alarm set points, your lead lag times, your starting frequency or percentage, which is 70 to start with a max of 100. You have two Schneider General VFDs inside, one for each pump. This system is not hooked up to your controls automation, but it can be. It has a proto node in here that will allow you to go from Modbus to BACnet for future. They're VFD rated motors on here. They're greasable. This thing doesn't run that often yet. I think when we get occupied, you'll find more. You can find the timers in here with touch button. It's labeled timers. And you can go through the different start-stop times, settings, and also maintenance intervals. There's 3 levels of passwords for this. One will allow you to do set points, one's maintenance, and one's more of a factory password. Those are all located in the book, which is inside this panel on page 52. So if you'd like to see what your suction alarms is, your high suction would be 80 psi, your low suction would be 10 psi. It's going to be an audible alarm that's going to drive you nuts. You can silence that on this screen. Your system alarm high pressure is 136 and your low is 88. The system cuts in at 108 psi. So at 108, it'll say pump start. It'll go up to 113, shut off, and it'll continue that duty cycle as needed based on use. We have the expansion tank here. It's 580 gallons, and it's set 3 psi below your set point. So it's set at 110 psi. If you ever have surging, hammering, or anything of that nature, check your pressure here. You're going to need to isolate it, drain the water down, and check the Schrader cap on top. If you have to fill it, I would highly recommend using a big nitrogen tank. Took about 4 hours with a compressor to fill up, so just a forewarning. You have transducers on the inlet and the outlet here that feed this board, tell everything that's going on with it. We've also supplied gauges so you can back it up. You do have spare gauges inside this panel too, that if one fails, locks all the way open or closed, you have some backups in here. Your factory rep for these, for parts and smarts, is Cal Hydronics out of Hayward. So you can go into hand mode as well with these switches, and pretty much all this has been configured and started up through Cal Hydronics. Their report and all the settings are located in the binder on the inside. We left that with anything that's been changed from the factory right inside the panel in the book. We're feeding in through the city on this side, coming in, and we're heading out and hitting the rest of the building. So,
what's the typical city pressure?
City pressure, well, we should be able to actually see that on here. We got our water temp here, and don't know exactly what city pressure is now, but I think it was 65 if I can remember correctly. So we're boosting up to 113. Oh, 48. 48's sitting on it stagnant right now, so 48's our number. It's all been chlorinated and all that prior to coming in, so all that's taken care of, and backflows have been tested and recorded as well. you guys have any questions that I can maybe answer.
Maintenance.
Maintenance would be basically the pumps and checking that rigid coupling. It's got some, it's rigid, so it's bolted around both sides, 2 halves. Obviously, you want to make sure those are tight. So I'd probably do that annually. Your pump is going to be, I'd probably do a squirt maybe every 6 months, and probably no more than that. As the building gets up to speed and it's getting used more, as you guys are doing your rounds, you'll see how much this is running, and you may need to up the frequency, but at this point, I'd just probably a squirt every 6 months at this point. You do have isolation valves on here coming in and out, but you do not have a bypass to bypass this. So the bypass would just be, this is shut off and it's still flowing through the pump, pump's not moving. There's no external bypass or bypass piping.